Played a lot at this tournament. It's going to be Cafe first into Border. Those are our two guarantees.
Now, our social media prediction says FaZe are going to take this 62% to 38, but I think the house is feeling a lot more strong on Los. Atlanta, is that correct? Do you want Los to win? Well, we'll just have to see how they perform on Cafe for our first map. And as I said, Skyscraper, see, I defaulted to it because it's been so played, it's so in my mind as Los. I mean, how could I not? As an NA fan, that's 7-0 against Dark Zero, burned into my brain. But Cafe and Border, our two least played maps as the event, are the two ones we are guaranteed to play in this best of three.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, folks. It's the last major of 2023, but it leads quickly into February, where we get to decide who is the champion of the realm in Rainbow Six Siege. One of these teams could be that team down the line, but we still have to crown a major champion here in Atlanta. One of these teams has a date with Destiny tomorrow, a date with W7M, the Bulls. I'll have to find out who it is now. Some interesting bands already coming through.
Interesting indeed.
Buck and Nomad going to be the bands here. I really like this Buck band especially, Carter.
I mean, the Buck band, when you normally see it on Cafe, especially a couple years ago, you immediately see a cocktail take, right? Go beneath, inside of Reading Room. Buck open the floor beneath to put pressure on those defenders playing on Cocktail. And in a meta where frag grenades are slowly being kind of moved around or even being pushed away for updates later on in next year, Buck is a great operator on Cafe that won't be a factor anymore. Nomad as well. This map is pretty notorious for just sending air jabs on windows to stop the jump outs and stop the defense from getting aggressive. Now, not as much of a possibility. For the defense, though, you can't get any more standard than that.
No, definitely not. Zombie going to be removed as well as Valkyrie, two of the key operators to Cafe's play, especially when it comes to a Zombie and her way to use that freeform utility, build up some of these sites in a way that really isn't accomplishable by other operators. So with that being said, folks, let's jump into this very first round, shall we? It's FaZe Clan versus Los. Give us some noise!
That'll be a sound that if Los win around, we'll hear quite a bit, but if FaZe start taking this game away from them, imagine the crowd will not be too pleased. It has been a tournament of villains. I believe Nick tweeted it. Every single team the crowd has been on or been hot on, G2, Dark Zero, SSG, they've unfortunately gone home. It is the villains who are now turning to heroes in the case of Los, but they've all come to play. And for Cafe, we'll have to see how Los do, as it is their opponent's pick.
Yeah, they've been cursing a lot of people. I tried my curses yesterday on Twitter. It worked out for one map. The second one, not so much.
And it was a great map.
It was. I mean, I can tell you this, I had so much anxiety about that match yesterday. I was literally pacing around my hotel room watching the coming of end there for Los versus SSG. But now, FaZe versus Los here in FaZe Clan. Going to be having to deal with a top floor defense up against Los. Some things built upon some trap operators here. We got some Frost, we got some cap cannon, some mute jammers to hold up some walls and make it a little bit more difficult for a couple of these drones to roll through. But I like FaZe Clan's idea here, Lynx, especially working in the gridlock. We should see a lot of her when it comes to this map. It was already kind of a mainstay for gridlock before she had frag grenades, but those track stingers along with that, there's no reason to not have her in the lineup.
It's very difficult to flank on this map up through because, you just have the red stairs, the white stairs. You can lock those down with air jabs, or in this case, track stingers very effectively. But one player that could disrupt FaZe Clan strategy is Loban, the man of the hour, the star player in this lobby throughout this tournament. And against SSG yesterday, FaZe were constantly disrupted by SSG's aggressive defenses. For example, Fultz playing on Solus, hopping out of windows. Loban, I was about to say, could very well hop out a window and disrupt FaZe Clan's attacks, but he uses both of his impacts and finds his way back into mining. Instead, it's Dash from inside of Christmas to Dome Cyber on the rappel.
If you guys have been bored here at this tournament with some of the gunplay, I guarantee you it's not going to be happening here. These two teams are feisty, and they want nothing but smoke. Los giving over so many kills, practically the whole bag now, as they've lost 3 people. Dash very low after his earlier engagement with the window player inside of Christmas, and FaZe Clan resting on their laurels, making sure to use that patience. It's working for them so swimmingly.
If FaZe could just keep turning these rooms into a kill box, if they can just contain the aggression from Los, like they're doing right now, this could be a very rough game. That's why we have first rounds. That's why we get out the jitters, feel out our opponents, then make adjustments later. Right now, what Dash and Maya can do, but Dash in particular can catch the attack off guard. They just started leaving some gaps, and Dash is found too! A triple for the Warden now, but on very low HP, Vidaking, now the only one left on his roster, is cut down by Maya. A 2v4 to start map 1. I'm scared for what we've got for the rest of this series.
Well, you should be scared for FaZe too, because we're pulling a Corey in the first round. Ice is his teammate. KDS taking down, I believe, Vidaking there. Not something that's supposed to happen. FaZe already a train wreck here. Round 2 now on the board. FaZe probably a little shaken after that, especially with the early aggression there from Los. I really like that. Although they ended up losing quite a few bodies, obviously it ends up turning tail for them. FaZe ended up losing a round that they had every right to take.
On attack on Cafe 2, if Los have successful aggression and are able to hold map control for a decent period of time, these attacks will not be easy for FaZe if that's what Los have in store. So losing out on a round like that, where basically everything went right before that 2v4, Los tried to peek, and aside from one gunfight lost onto Cyber, everything else went FaZe Clan's way. Dropping that round could become very important depending on what happens. But again, it's the first round. If you're going to make those mistakes at any time, it should be the first round on that first pick. Nice find for Handy right there, as you can see, making that a 4v3, catching these runouts from Los before they start bringing problems for FaZe Clan's attack. That's what they need to do to win this series.
Very unfortunate shot there. He's taking down his teammate. Very end of that replay, but FaZe will just use that as a little bit of a mental reset here. They had everything set up for success in that round, so they're focused on the positives rather than the negatives when you carry things over to round 2.
Here we go.
Close now with a mid-floor positioning. They're going to go for a run out here, but as we know, FaZe has kept a solid dot on a lot of these run out locations, and Cameraman is going to give over himself and the Solus early on in round 2.
When it's come to the late round, FaZe left a gap in the final 45 seconds. But they've shut down those early runouts, those early aggressive plays from Los every single time, round 1 and round 2. And now Cameraman making that play, he's given up the Solus. Now they can't play, or Cameraman can't play, on that first floor to maybe stop a plant from below or play above and try to find where these players are droning. That's a key piece of utility you've now lost, and puts a lot of pressure on Maya to keep those Yokais alive for the late round to deny that plant. It is a mining and dining defense right now, so FaZe Clan will need to take vertical control, and they're already making great progress on it. Souls especially now, making this a 5v3, cutting down dots. Cyber now feels he can repel in, but Dash makes sure he knows that that was a mistake. He retakes into Christmas, trying to take a gunfight with this player in Ticket. He's got the castle barricade behind him to shield him from White Stairs, and instead it's Maya to make this a 3v3.
Maya and Dash on this top floor. They've been holding so well. Maya's going to peel back here. FaZe Clan have control over the top floor after this kill onto Dash that they were searching for so very long. Just a miscalculation there initially, as he's been patrolling around Christmas for practically this entire time, but Maya's going to reinsert, came back up White Stairs, found that pick, but he's going to get taken down too. And with a minute remaining, it's going to be a 1 versus 2 for Loban to try and figure out.
Los have already had a monstrous clutch at this point. Maybe not monstrous, but certainly lethal. Now Loban will do what he does best. Wait for his moment. He'll give it away for a second. Super shorting through the floor.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
He knows FaZe Clan have to come down to this middle. He knows they have to come downstairs at some point. His best option is likely to play that retake. Wait for KDS to put that bomb down so he can take a 1v1 against Souls and then hopefully against KDS. That is his pathway to victory. Los still have intel on these top floor players. That Yokai's alive and signals the drop down for FaZe Clan. Los can work around. One player picked up and the other for Loban. 2 1vx's in a row for Los.
The kid's a little nasty, let me tell you. Loban, definitely not a name you want to see when you hold tab and he's the last one alive that you have to try and face. The Grim Reaper does it again, and it's 2 rounds for Los.
And you can hear the crowd. We know what side they're on.
I think they're on Loban's. Having some fun here today, folks. Happy you guys are along with us. FaZe Clan versus Los so far has kind of been somewhat of a one-sided affair. FaZe Clan with tactical error initially on their first round as they did everything right, minus the execution where they ended up losing a body via their own hands. But this time around, Los with some serious consideration about the top floor. Yes, they lose cameraman with that initial volley outside, but with such a solid hold, and also FaZe with a huge oversight onto Dash's positioning, it allowed not only him, but also Maya to get away with way too much upstairs.
FaZe's attacks are just so weird right now, not in their construction, but in how the pace is going. They are doing everything right in the first 45 seconds. They are shutting down the jump outs, they are getting the opening picks, they're stopping Los from getting aggressive. And then the mid-round happens, we see some great retakes from Los, and that's where FaZe start losing gunfights, but more importantly, losing a lot of drones and leaving a lot of gaps. Despite the perfect play early on, there's still plenty of room left for players like Lobin, like Maya, to take 1v1s in the late round that is then turning these rounds against FaZe. That wasn't just a 1v2, it was a 3v5 won by Los, started by the Wamai retaking Christmas. Now Maya, again, taking an aggressive position. Dash maybe contemplating a run out. These are the things FaZe have stopped so far, but will they have success with it in round 3?
A class act here for Los as they'll be holding down Bakery, and wouldn't you know it, it's going to be Monty on the other side. A tale as old as time when it comes to Cafe and this position. We'll see how it goes this time around, though, is sometimes it's high flying, sometimes it's just downright boring, as it'll be utility exchange for a while. Maybe they just give up the position, possibly slap a reinforcement up on that wall that they have pocketed, just like Los does here. FaZe is going to be working this front side of the building. Do still have some solid drones to try and consider some things, but on the second judgment here, it looks like they've actually drained quite a few of these. Yes, KDS has lost that. They're down to a drone on Cyber's person, as well as Handy having a drone outright down right now. And speaking of down, Maya's going to go down, but not out. Potential for him to try and rotate back through here, and if Dots really wants to, he can try and reinforce this to assist him as well. We'll be able to at least sweep that up, make things a little bit easier for himself. He'll pop that, and is he going to get Maya up immediately? He will indeed. Some solid damage dealt over to Vita King, but a lot of open affairs here for both of these teams.
But so much done by Los to waste FaZe's time, utility, and intel game. As you said, only 2 drones left. A lot of these plays will only be informed by intuition, and Cyber's completely walked past Dash, but he backs up, and when Solus takes the gunfight, Cyber's ready for it. Another opening pick going the way of FaZe, but it's these late rounds where Los have really come into their own. It's a slow push, a slow ISO into Bakery. The Monty's finally started moving in, and Cyber's got the key to victory. This vertical control, but Dots shuts him down. He's got the shotgun too to play close quarters. He's pinched from the wall and by the Monty. He tries to progress forward, but he's isolated in that corner, and it's only Lobin with any freedom to maneuver around this bomb site or around this map. He's still upstairs. He's got that vertical control, and he's got one. He's taking down Handy, but he can't. Oh, maybe he can shoot that Monty, in fact. He's put Vita King to 1 HP, but now he's putting the bomb down. Lobin moves to the retake down White Stairs. KDS and Souls can both train their guns in this retake. Now the Monty's full shielded. Can relay intel to the rest of FaZe Clan. As for Lobin's position, a 1v2 was excellent, but this 1v3 is looking nigh impossible, as nobody from FaZe is biting. Looks over to Bakery and Red Stairs as well, trying to find something, but just as the intel was low for FaZe, there's nothing going Lobin's way in that round.
FaZe will not fall for Los's antics this time around. That's the biggest thing there. Los try a lot of different things to be able to get one up on FaZe Clan, but they strike true with that initial entry, just like we'd seen on the 2 previous rounds, just that the round actually comes to bear for them for round 3. Very well done from them, especially the patience around Bakery to allow that utility exchange and then start pressuring with their own utility. That frag grenade making a huge play, especially being able to take down, I believe, Maya there initially, and giving Los's site setup a really hard time. They try and reconcile with that with some high-flying things on the mid-floor, try and make some rotations, try and battle back against the gridlock over on the red side, but just too much given to FaZe in that positioning, and they're allowed to exploit it fully here. Some nice shots from Cyber, especially on a dash.
I think ultimately the pace of that round came down to that gunfight on the Red Stairs, because with the low drones and with Dash overall being unknown, as Cyber had to react to that gunfight instead of knowing he was there, if Dash is able to get that kill, then just back off, that very likely a round for
Absolutely.
Los. With the very low time, the low intel, Los could have easily won that. But Cyber winning that fight, it changed everything.
Yeah, that was all about mechanics right there. Whoever hits their flick is more than likely going to win the round for their team because, as you said, I mean, if Solus ends up getting that kill, she just runs upstairs and now you have a demon let loose on the top floor. You have no idea what you can really do. You can't play verticality the same way because Solus can just try and give you some problems with the later flank. There's a lot of things that could have been presented to FaZe Clan if that ended up going awry. But this is the world we live in now. FaZe Clan, 1 round on offense so far, and probably could have had another one under their belt with that first round, but beggars can't be choosers. Into round 4 we go, trying to see if they can potentially line things up here with Los and tie him down.
I know Jesse was curious how many looks Los could give FaZe, or new looks that is, as they were bringing out strat after strat against Dark Zero, never letting them adapt or get a feel for their opponents. We want to see some adjustments made, not necessarily strategically, but individually, denying FaZe that early pick, which they've reliably achieved, and more importantly, not putting your star players like Loben or Maya in a position where they need to clutch a 1vx or a 2vx. We'd like to see some adjustments to the utility game, even though they lost. The utility game last round from Los was excellent to stall FaZe's time, and they've set up something similar on this top floor. The mirror windows, the ADSs, the Aruni gates, plenty of utility to keep FaZe at bay for the first half of the round.
Slow rolling so far, Los with no initial look like we had been seeing in those first 3 rounds, but honestly they weren't going that well, so you'd much rather rest on FaZe's timing as they have been playing things at a pretty slow pace. Just let that clock start to eat at them, and that's exactly what they've done here. Dots gonna be forced to move with that EE1D active, so he will be spotted for just a time, but not long enough for him to actually be punished. Just a quick back and forth there on the cocktail windows. Soul's also going to lose his Twitch drone. FaZe trying their damnedest to process this top floor right now, Carter, but there's not really much to be had. The firebolts will go out. Is Vita King gonna fly in? Frag grenade out too. He's still stuck up top. We're just waiting for that call. It's gonna be Maya that takes down Katie. Yes, we still have Cyber down low as well, but no frag grenades nowadays on that Yana. Soul's with a big moment here finally, as he'll take down Maya.
Man count even, Soul slowly pushing up, but 1 HP on this lurk into the bomb site. He's easily felled if anybody from Los gets beat on his position. KDS also falling on that cigar window, has forced a rotation out from FaZe to delay this execute by another 15 seconds. Now Vita King hits the drop. He's got Souls behind him for coverage and is weaving his way onto Cocktail, but he's shut down by Dots. Unread on the Cocktail balcony. Dash for one more, Dots for a third. Los with their most dominant round so far.
As all of our mothers have probably told us, patience is a virtue. And right here it is indeed for Los, as they don't give a single look to FaZe. They just rest on the strategy. They force them to try and take things, force them to try and find these gaps in the defense. But with the way that things are being played out with Los on that top floor, there really isn't any at all. They try and flame some things off and try and use some frag grenades to soften up the defense, but the angles are way too harsh, especially with Dot's positioning there. That is something that cannot go unchecked. You have not only the Heaven balcony player rotating in, but also the man with your case hopping in Skylight, and not a single person knows that he's in Cocktail. That cannot happen.
And another thing that represents the change for Los of playing that more conservative defense, playing a bit closer on the bomb side, is Cameraman. Because I don't know where the hell he was playing. I literally don't know. But you know where I know he wasn't playing? Outside the building in the first 45 seconds, which resulted in the opening pick the first 2 rounds. So Cameraman playing more conservatively, and the rest of the defense also holding the bomb site. It's an overall shift in the play from Los that really cost FaZe a lot of time and a lot of ground in that round. And just as we saw a 2v4 to 1v2 off the back of poor intel from FaZe, this time it wasn't even a 1vx. It was just a 4v4, and Dot sitting in a corner. He's got a huge 3-piece to win that round. Just as I say that, just as I talk about more consolidated play on the bomb site, Dots has worked his way down white stairs. The barricade is not prepped, but he does hear it. At least gaining intel for Los, and likely we'll see some play here later on in the round, especially with that yokai.
Has the yokai here to check it for him, Carter. But I don't think they're going to go for it just yet. It's going to be kind of a hard moment there for Dots if he does want to go for it, because with Fenrir, he doesn't have any impacts or anything, so it's either punch the door or shoot the door. Both of those very loud and aren't going to give you the ability to obviously push out immediately without a lot of noise. So we usually see impact plays coming from that door frame there, but instead he's just going to try and peel it back a bit. Doesn't want to try and overplay his hand, and why would you? I mean, Los' strategy has been working so well up against FaZe Clan. You might as well just let them try and process this map, as they've been taking quite some time in these opening 2 minutes.
They have putting those track stingers in a position, using this clutch drone in this particular case to take down prox alarms, deny intel for Los to know when they're pushing. And Loban doesn't really care about that, though, sitting in the corner. They don't even know. Oh, but he misses the engagement. The Brava just ducks away. It's Dash that's more successful. Cyber having a rough time in this game so far. 1-5 at this point in the opening pick for Los. But another key entry for FaZe Clan dismantled in the early round, as they still have yet to find a solid way into Cafe.
It's so difficult for Cyber in this game, as it seems like the entire world is collapsing on him. Vita King and the rest of the gang now starting to work their way in top red, but it's going to be Dots to strike next. Finally, Souls will get something for FaZe, but Los, they're just too damn strong. Constantly battling back against FaZe Clan and keeping this man advantage fully within their right. Mile fall off. Vita King right on the tailcoats, but can't be able to pick it up there.
There is Dots again, though, unread inside a bathroom, waiting for someone to rotate, but a nice heads-up play by Handy. Anticipates it, hits the pre-fire, and Dots cut down. There's still so much intel for Los in this execute. The Yokai's still stationed around that middle floor to find any attackers once they drop down to the middle. Vita King on the other side. Handy will have to join him to make sure that if he puts this bomb down, he's got somebody to cover. He's made his way into mining. There's somebody down below. Vita King has to react. A Soulless beneath the plant position. You either have to kill or a plant on a hard surface, and Vita King's chosen the latter. He can relay this position, but he falls off again and gets a kill onto Loban. FaZe Clan now fighting back in this round, but Maya hitting the flank. He's fallen off the Yokai, but Handy's watching Pillar. Should have an angle on this. Yes, he does, but he falls off. Vita King able to get the plant with cameraman down. Nice headshot. 1v1. Nice 1v2, Maya. What is that? 3 clutches now for Los? And on 1 HP as well? I would not want to be Los' opponent in this game.
I wouldn't want to be Maya's opponent. Guy's walking around with the biggest cleaver I've ever seen in my life, just decapitating people left and right. And once again, when I talk sliver, folks, I mean it. This guy is on death's doorstep. Single HP to his name, still more than willing to take that gunfight with Habana, and wins the round for Los yet again. It's 4 defensive rounds here, and yes, it is Cafe. This is something that you expect, but not in this fashion.
Not in this fashion at all. FaZe have not at all been looking good in these late rounds. Now, to be fair, it's from some huge performances from players on Los. I mean, in that case, Handy had the right idea. He knew someone might flank Pillar. He just lost the initial gunfight, and that ended up costing him. That's just going to happen sometimes. You're going to miss a fight, you're going to whiff a shot, it is what it is. But it's the other 1vXs, the earlier ones that got Los this 4-1, those are the ones where FaZe had poor intel, where they didn't have enough information for where these players were playing. And so when you have a hero play like this, when you have Maya popping off, you can't account for those. But the rounds you can't account for, the ones that slipped away, that's what's punishing FaZe right now. And Los in a very good shot to move up 5-1, but they're going to the bottom floor, which is the one site FaZe have won at this point.
Yes, indeed. It's now or never for FaZe. A 5-1 half for Los is more than anything they could really ask for. Is been looking so solid throughout this game so far. Their offense is probably going to look very similar. Loban! Cyber, you gotta give him some respect! Loban's on top of it. FaZe Clan, battered, bruised. Have no idea how to try and fight this maniac that is Los right now.
And this is FaZe's pick too. You'd think they'd be comfortable. You'd think they'd feel so secure in clearing out these roamers. But Los with not many footage on this map, not knowing how they play.
Oh.
FaZe are struggling. Cameraman lining up a C4, but KDS pulls back. Not that close enough in the blast radius. Loban also dodging that grenade. This is where he thrives. In those positions nobody expects, when he can just rely on the intel given by his team and his own gun skill to win rounds for Los. They've already done the damage though, with Cyber cut down. A key player again dismantled, having a rough game so far, but it just keeps adding onto the pile of factors that are stalling FaZe's attack. The Vulcan packs on this top floor, the castle barricades, the magnets. Los have been bringing so much utility, and then on top of that, they're reliably getting these opening picks and aggressively contesting FaZe's attempt at acquiring map control.
And it's forcing them onto such poor timing, Carter. There's really no way for them to fight back right now, because when they start adopting these windows in, there's really nobody home to try and assist them on the other end. FaZe Clan constantly going back to the info well and seeing if there's something new that they can add to the pile, but as for FaZe, they really need an opening kill here. It might be gifted over from Souls, and it will. Some shots back to him. He's about 50% HP, but Los, they've done the dirty deeds, and they've gotten away with it. Loban's worked his way back downstairs. Yeah, FaZe, you finally have top floor control, but there's only 45 seconds remaining.
And there's barely any soft destruction either. You don't have the sledge. You obviously don't have the buck, as Los abandoned it. No secondary breaching charges for FaZe either. Guess we're opening up with DMRs, I guess. Might just be sending it down stairwells and into pillar, but Los have the exact execute they want. They put FaZe in the exact position they needed. They can waste 20 whole seconds with these Vulcan packs on reading door, because right as Viking hops down, that's where he wanted to plant. Dash simply wraps around at pillar. It's all going according to plan. FaZe are walking into a trap set by Los, and there's no one there to dismantle it. Dash still in pillar, can backstab, but instead it's Viking to hit the rotate. Dash still gets the kill anyway. It's all futile for FaZe Clan, as Los get a 5-1 half on their opponent's pick.
They get that kill on Maya on the top floor, but I'd call it a flawless round by my stand. Most definitely. They're gonna have to rest on their defenses here on Cafe, but as we've touched on, this is a very defensive-oriented map. It's all up to your offenses that really set the tone for if you take this or not. And for FaZe, well, that ship has already sailed. They have a very long road ahead of them, but they're more than capable of doing it. This top floor defense is looking pretty solid. Obviously, when it comes to this site, you're really worried about some window play and that kind of take over from the Christmas side. They have a lot of different things implemented here to try and assist with this. I especially like Souls on the Aruni here. Laser Gate's very annoying to deal with. And also, if you don't do things in good timing, Carter, they can also get reset and become an even bigger issue down the line.
They always seem to get reset at the exact worst moment. If you let somebody play behind that Aruni gate, but you clear it, right as you're about to push in, right as you're about to take that bit of map control, they just go, no. Suddenly there's a de facto barricade in your way, and there's not much you can do. We'll see how Los decide to do it. Loban has to recover that one. Oh no, he actually did make it over. I thought he bounced it off the ledge, but he does make it in. This will be the first attack we see from Los as they will attack that top floor bomb site. We saw how difficult it was for FaZe to progress into that Christmas position, or move at all really along that top floor, partially because of great aggression from Loban early on, but towards the end, just a solid defensive strategy from Los. Now FaZe Clan, we don't see a mirror on the board, but this is certainly a setup with the Mozzie and the Mute that allows you to get flexible, that allows you to push for aggression because of how much intel denial is theoretically available for the defense.
Well, no EMPs here, so we're going to have to get Gridlock over on the windows. He's going to gritty his way on over there and get rid of this Mute jammer, allow them to open up that wall. KDS, more of an open floor plan when it comes to the freezer here. And the deployable shield as well. This is something that we've done for quite some time. It really depends on the team. If you want to get more aggressive, this is a really solid setup. But the key thing is here, folks, is that no ADSs for him. He's going to have maybe a couple of my discs around, but it really depends on where Cyber ended up putting those. So it could be problematic down the line, but fortunately enough for him, no more frag grenades, as Dash has allocated those elsewhere to try and clear some things up for Los.
Track Stingers out!
Track Stingers go out in the same position. We saw FaZe put them quite a bit on the attack just to stop the rotation up Whitehall or up White Stairs. Dot seeing behind that shield, but there's nobody behind it anymore. KDS has relocated onto the Palace position, or into Deep Freeze, actually. So by that shield, but certainly not behind it. Just slowly pulling this back, slowly retreating into the safety of the bomb site. Maya now cut down. Dot's looking to push in. Beams KDS. Loban finds another opportunity. Instead, it's the Hibana with all the action in round 7, as it's a triple for Dots as he cuts his way through the cocktail balcony. King down below, though, ends his reign of terror. Diffuser now dropped on the floor. He has to win this fight to make his way back up. Cameraman watching. Cameraman loses it. Doesn't win the initial engagement, but gets him on the retake. Handy now with attempt number 2. Will have to be in the post plan as well. Dash has now placed that diffuser on the floor. Flashbang blinds Handy, so his gunfight will be a few seconds later. He knows cameraman's here, but the Dokkaebi anticipates it, waiting for him to peek! Two-piece for cameraman, 6-1 now for Los. Their first attack, no problem at all.
There's nothing worse, I'm telling you, than fighting a man on the Spider-Man rappel, upside down, trying to fend him off, especially with the angle you have to try and take up. That's why you saw Handy go for that prone angle instead. If he tries to fight that windowsill, there's a good chance that the top of that window just completely blocks the body of cameraman for him. So well struck from cameraman there, especially playing off of the partially broken barricade. That's just so big brain.
This has been a worrying start for FaZe, one of the quiet favorites of the tournament.
What do you get excited about for FaZe right now?
Yeah,
Carter?
I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, to be fair, the one round they won was good. It's not like it was a fluke. Sure, one gunfight might have changed the pace of it, but Cyber won that fight. And then they won it pretty dominantly after that. But beyond that, Los's late round, they have enough individual talent to make it work, and in this case, for the early execute, have enough individual talent just to win 3 1v1s gifted to Dots as he moves into Freezer. Los have just relied on their fundamentals, not necessarily of the game, but as a team. They have some incredibly talented players, they know how to spot gaps, and so even if the round takes a long time, as before Dots is pushing to Freezer, Los really didn't have that much. They say, all right, we got to make a play, we got to do something, but we know we're good enough to win these fights, and that might just be enough. And in this case, it's put Los on match point. They just need one more to take FaZe's pick at one of the most dominant scorelines possible. Yeah, FaZe, one of the most dominant attacking teams at this entire event, but I mean, as of right now, Los looking like one of the best gunfight teams in the world. And that's pretty crazy to say, especially with teams like G2 here as well as W7M. It really feels like Los might be a team to finally give W7M a little bit of a test down the line, but we have to get there first. As it at least stands right now, Los looking pretty about this. Cyberzera is going to get droned out just a tad bit as he patches up that front door, but we already have some presence on this mid floor from Maya. He's going to be the only one in the building for Los right now, as we'll be working things across. As we all know, the mid floor very, very important for the setup when it comes to the kitchen defense. You want that verticality in your hands as an offender, open up that flooring, and start making it difficult for the defenders to try and play around things like bunker. This is all going to be up to Dash with that sledgehammer. They haven't even got Dots inside yet, folks. This man has been doing so much droning. He's still in spawn. It's not the early round Monty play we saw from FaZe where they just sit King on the bakery door to watch the guy behind the bar. No, Dots is like, all right, I've got the diffuser. My Monty's meant for the late round. That's fine. I'll drone people out. I'll get control of the middle floor, which they have. And they got here with over half the round to go. It might be sub-minute 30 now, but Dash is opening things up at excellent pace at this point. And now they might be tight on time if they try to move down white stairs. But if Los are just efficient with what time they have remaining, this is very winnable.
And this is honestly starting to build up to be a Freezer take. They're not even looking towards Bakery, and this can work really, really well, especially with Dots here. They don't even have, well, they do have one Nitro cell, and as well as Handy on top of that with the Yokais to try and give Dats a hard time. But the key thing is that Monty becomes such a focal point for the defense to try and deal with in a situation like this. If Los is able to use that as a distracting measure on top of a call from cameraman or something like that, this could become a huge issue for them as this collapse comes in. But it's going to be KDS to start us off, and KDS to potentially finish this as well as the Monty goes down. What a pre-fire from Loban, though. He'll take down Handy, but it's practically all said and done. All to the VIP player. KDS will shut up Los as they try and take control of the back end of the basement floor.
I gotta say, when we cut to the Monty, that's not where I thought he would be. But as we find Loban, he's exactly where King is. Downs him, but smoke canister choking off his entry into the main lobby. Oh, okay, does find another. No, he's just padding his stats. Everyone calm down. I know Loban's great. He's got his exits, but it's not the round for him. But, again, when I see the Monty and I see they're going for a Freezer take, I'm like, all right, they probably don't have enough time to take white stairs. We'll see him maybe drop down the Freezer hatch and then make his way into Freezer. I did not expect to see him unshielded, actively trying to melee KDS behind the shield. I suppose, you know, To each their own.
Yeah, I guess. You know, when I saw that lining up, I'll be completely real with you. I thought that we were, especially with the verticality that we were looking into, going to be going for something like a bunker plant or something like a plant right behind the bomb chassis, right outside the freezer door, right? But that's not what we got at all. Monty either flies down white or drops down the hatch and hops through the freezer rotate to try and assist with that VIP player, but clearly not the right idea, as KDS had some other things in mind, and it just so happened to be a triple kill in that last round. But what else are you going to do when your back's against the wall in a scenario like this? Let's see it right here. Great mindset from KDS. When it comes to Monty and that pressure is pushing on top of you, you never want to worry about Monty until the shield slide. Just let him rock. They know you're there. Worry about everybody else around him. Try and take those gunfights, because I guarantee you'll even surprise professional players.
Great heads-up play from KDS there. 3K in that round for him. Huge reasons to why FaZe Clan get only their second round so far this game. But we saw 6-1 comebacks yesterday. Fortunately, to the many of you in the crowd, it was not SSG who ended up winning that series.
Oh.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Boo, Carter, boo.
Shut up. Why are you booing me? I didn't do it. You think I beat him?
It's all Lynx's fault, folks. At Casting Lynx on Twitter, tell him about it.
I mean, you should.
You should.
Listen, you can follow if you want.
No. Follow his TikTok, though. That's you make good content over there.
Are you?
You're probably going to make some good content about this game and the fact that FaZe really hasn't been able to figure it out, minus some key moments where some players pick up some big frags.
Now, outside of that KDS round, and obviously the Monty take that we saw in round one, it's very much been a dominant Los game, but they at least got there first, and that's where everything can start. It's middle floor defense now, and Los have done a pretty good job at moving into the map, where FaZe's big problem was they'd get kills from aggressive Los players in their attacks, but didn't move into the building until quite late in the round. Los moved into the map on that first attack very, very quickly, and now seem to be repeating that again, as Dots has made his way onto red stairs, and Lobin and Cameraman are already setting up on the cocktail side to cut off anybody from FaZe's defense who tries to move down to that bottom floor. Cameraman even has the Grim as well, which can make anybody playing there uncomfortable.
Oh.
But you know what's equally uncomfortable? A C4 from below that Low simply had no counter for.
You always got to worry about that when you're rolling through Ticket too, right? Especially when there's presence on that mid-floor like a reading dining defense. There's always some potential for that rotate to go awry, and that's what's exactly going to happen to Dots. Although they don't give over many bodies, this is definitely manageable, especially after they take down KDS, the big player from the previous round. Lobin works his way in. Nobody in deep freeze, but a dead smoke. There's going to be one in bathroom, though. CyberZero will be able to trade that out, luckily enough for them. A minute remains now in this 3 versus 3. Dash does have some presence over here on this side, but this frag, they might get Cyber. He has to abandon ship, but Maya with some beautiful shots. They know Souls is on this top floor, too. How is Souls going to be able to play this out from heaven?
Handy certainly can. Oh, he doesn't see him because of the scope, but Dash doesn't either. He switches to the pistol, and Dash gives him a freebie to win. But Maya still kicking with the diffuser as well. That's put a Handy in what was effectively a 1v3, but now a 1v2. But we're in a similar situation to Lobin's. Back in round 2 with one player who has to plant and the other, the only gun for Handy to worry about. He's crept in a pillar, and Cameraman shuts him down. A drive-by pick in pillar gives Los a 7-2 victory on their opponent's pick.